Welcome back to the unit on fractions and decimals. Today's lesson is about dividing decimal numbers by decimal numbers. The goals of today's lesson are that you can find the quotient of two decimals, which means you can divide a decimal number by a decimal by converting the numbers to fractions and also by long division. And a second goal is that you can explain how multiplying the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10 can help you find this quotient of two decimals. And so just to talk about some of the language here, the dividend and the divisor, let's use as an example 6/7. 6, the number above the fraction bar, is the dividend, and the number below the fraction bar is the divisor. So the dividend is 6 and the divisor is 7. And when we talk about the same power of 10, we talk 10, 100, 1000. These are all powers of 10. That's 10 to the power of 1, 10 squared, 10 to the power of 3, and so on. So just to clarify the language that we're using throughout this lesson. So in this first example, let's convert the numbers to fractions. And we have 96 or 0.96, which is 96 hundredths, divided by 0.4, which is 4 tenths. And we know that to divide by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So 96 over 100 times the reciprocal of 4 tenths, which is 10 fourths. And now I can solve this either by multiplying 96 times 10 and dividing by 100 times 4, or first I can make the numbers a little bit easier. So 10 in the dividend and 100 in the divisor, I can cross cancel there. Their greatest common factor is 10. So 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 100 divided by 10 is 10. And that leaves me with 96 over 40. I can further divide by dividing 96 and 4 by 4, because that's the greatest common factor of both of those. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 96 divided by 4 is 24. So after all that cross-cancelling, I am now left with 24 tenths. And we can convert this back to decimals now. 24 divided by 10 is 2.4. So that's how we could convert to fractions, do our work, and then calculate back to decimals. It's one way of calculating the division of one decimal by another decimal. We can also multiply the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10. So here we have 6 divided by 3, which is 2. But if we multiply both of them by the same power of 10, let's say we multiply both of them by just 10, we have 60 divided by 30, which is also 2. Or how about if we multiply both of them by 1000? We would have 6000 divided by 3000 is also 2. So multiplying the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10 does not change the answer. It will still be 2. And we can use this to divide fractions. So 0.8 divided by 0.2. If we multiply both of these by 10, we get 8 divided by 2, which is a very straightforward problem. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that's the usefulness of multiplying the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10. Now, which power of 10 should you use? Here we have 0.96 which has 2 decimal places, divided by 0.4, which has 1 decimal place. That means there's one number to the right of the decimal point. So let me write it with a dividend and a divisor. So I need my divisor to have no decimal place. So what number do I need to multiply it by to have no decimal place? I need to multiply by 10. So 0.4 by 10 is 4, which is much easier to divide with. Now, if I multiply the divisor by 10, I must also multiply the dividend by 10. So multiply 0.96 by 10, I get 9.6. And now my problem is 9.6 divided by 4. And I can do a regular long division on this. 9.6, so I'm going to say 2. 2 times 4 is 8. And then I'll bring down the 6. There's a decimal point here. 4 times 4 is 16. I'm left with 0. So my answer is 2.4. And I chose my power of 10 based on the number of decimal places in the divisor. So here we have another problem. 0.56 divided by 0.04. 0.56, 0.04. And looking at my divisor, at this number here, there are two numbers to the right of the decimal place, so I need to multiply by 100 times 100, and I'll get 4. But if I multiply the divisor by 100, I've got to multiply the dividend by 100 as well, and I get 56. And 56 divided by 4 is 14. So there are 14 0.4s in 0.56. So to divide decimal numbers, you can either convert to a fraction and multiply by the reciprocal and then convert back to a decimal again, or you can multiply your divisor by as many tens as necessary until you get a whole number, multiply the dividend by the same number, and then do a long division problem. So in today's lesson, you learned how to convert numbers to fractions and how to do long division. And you also learned that multiplying the dividend and the divisor by the same power of 10 can help you find a quotient of 2 decimals. And that's the end of today's lesson.